I want to preface this by admitting that analyzing pop culture while a war is currently unfolding is definitely a bold move. Yet I can't overlook a very bizarre and unprecedented element to the military conflict in the Ukraine, and that is the presence of the internet. Wars have been raging on all around the world for the majority of the past decades, but this is truly the first war in Western society reminiscent of the World Wars and the Cold War that is being accompanied by the internet. And not only the media reporting is online, but the EU in fact intends to fight this war on the digital route, with EU sanctions including technological penalties such as excluding Russia from the SWIFT banking system and banning government-run TV channels. Moreover, the internet is not least a powerful catalyst for propaganda in the context of war, an aspect which has Putin faced with severe criticism for manipulating the masses in this way. And naturally, people express their opinions and concerns about the war on social media too. Enter President Zelensky. While the majority of world leaders has not exactly garnered an ecstatic response even by their own countrymen in the past years, it seems as though the world has forgotten what true heroism is and evidently is as ready for it as ever. While political figures certainly have the capacity to be divisive, there is rarely one to command respect in a way that the leaders of the past have. In the last years, we have seen politicians ridiculed en masse, portrayed unflatteringly in caricatures as bumbling fools or generally serving as no more than a series of puppets in the name of democracy, where every player is replaceable, as the government staff adjustments in Europe and around the world in the course of the pandemic have swept entire armies of leaders and civil servants under the rug. Political acolytes have been fooled one too many times by corrupt and deceitful leaders. All the more understandable is the public's craving for a true hero, a strong character to believe in, to lead them in these troubling times. And above all, people want simplicity. Thus, the war in the Ukraine has lent itself almost perfectly to establish a black and white scenery of good versus evil. Putin's needless and self-serving attack on his neighboring country has earned resounding disagreement around the world, underscoring this dichotomy. The brave people of the Ukraine who defend their homeland are being backed unanimously by the European Union, as they are clearly fighting for the good cause. For all those concerned whether modern societies could still muster up the bravery and national pride to defend their country in a military conflict, this war has delivered the answer. Instead of hiding in slick suits inside their castles of diplomacy from the roaring guns, the leaders of the Ukraine have been prominently televised dwelling on the battlefield in combat gear. It is a sight to behold and truly an unusual and unsettling one, seeing that these images thought to be things of the past have once again announced themselves at the doorstep of Europe. Ukraine's President Volodymyr Zelensky and his ministers are continually giving hope to the Ukrainian people, leading the country in crisis and appearing on television in t-shirts and combat outfits while dealing out motivational messages. This is truly impressive considering Zelensky has no background in the military but is in fact a trained lawyer and worked most of his life as an actor and entertainer before becoming president. The dedication to his country has garnered him sympathy around the world and has already somewhat become the stuff of legends on the internet. Videos from his appearance on the Ukrainian version of Dancing with the Stars, contrasted with his rugged sleepless appearances on TV during the war, only amplify the public's sympathy for him. Heroic tales are being spun, with his response to offers of flying him out of the country apparently being, "I don't need a ride, I need more ammunition." Lines like these sound like straight out of a Hollywood script, and we do have to bear in mind that Zelensky is in fact an actor. Thus it is not surprising that we get catchphrases and stories that make Zelensky look like the hero we have all been waiting for. But while the internet is busy curating the Ukrainian president's origin story, there is an actual war with human casualties raging on. This conflict has demonstrated the power of human empathy and collaboration, but it is nevertheless a political conflict of diplomatic complexity that has been brewing for years and that is all but black and white. The bizarre and interesting thing is that the people on the internet get to act as a judge of the Ukrainian war, a sort of spontaneous wisdom of the crowd assessment of the sentiment towards the quarreling parties. What this implies is a stronger focus on the democratization of opinion formation, as opposed to spoon-fed propaganda that usually takes the spot in times of war. While it is interesting to see how countries and people who have no stake in this war respond to it, Unbiased and non-sensationalist media coverage remains more important than ever, and the question arises what good the glorification of Zelensky really does in the grand scheme of things. After all, this war is not over yet, and it remains uncertain if the old adage that history is written by the winners will hold true.